Miles Morales is a character that is criticized for many things. He's either a tokenized Spider-Man, he's either just a completely unoriginal character, or people just call him, by trademark pending, Peter Blacker. Or Peter Darker, whichever one you want to go with. And they're not wrong. Miles definitely has a problem being original character. The dude steals several stories from Peter Parker because Marvel editorial doesn't know how to make this character original, which really isn't that hard, but at the same time, yeah, there's really not much you can do with Miles that you haven't already done with Peter. The dude has his own clone saga and everything. So basically, here's my pitch for this. Part of what I loved about the PS4 games so much is that they kind of made Miles a Wallace West type character. They made him a Kid Flash type character. They made him a sidekick, a partner in some ways. And I think that can definitely work for a story because, believe it or not, Miles cannot work on his own. He needs another character to balance out. If reading the comics tells you anything, it can basically tell you that Miles just can't work as a character on his own. He needs Peter Parker. He needs somebody to bounce off of because on his own, he really ain't shit. He's just a character. He still has to borrow a lot of Peter's villains, and he still has to borrow a lot of his storylines. He even has to borrow his love interest, which, sidelines, get to that for a minute. Peter Parker, Gwen Stacy, really? Hey, anybody remember Starling? From the Solid and Ahmad run? Starling, Vulture's conveniently black granddaughter. The character who is kind of acting like the character who's kind of like a love interest for Miles. I could see that kind of happening on a big screen, but I guess interdimensional, interracial shit matters more. But basically, what I'm trying to pitch here is, personally, and I know I'm going to get a lot of discourse from this. I know this video is going to be very contentious. I think Miles works better as Peter's stepson. Now, don't click off the video. Don't click off the video, Chad. I know you're right. I know you're out there. But yeah, I think he works better if he was related to Peter Parker in some ways, here's the thing. Here's the thing. You're going to have to kill off Jeff. I think they should kill off Jeff. Peter should marry Rio. And then that way, he can train Miles into becoming Spider-Man. They could have this Barry and Wally type of relationship. It sounds corny on paper, but at the same time, it can work on screen. It can definitely work. If you have enough good writing, a story like this can work. And, it was basically that idea that birthed my Red Dragonfly series. A character of my own making. I basically just did like Invincible or The Boys and basically just said, what if I took such and such character and subverted it with this? And yeah, I definitely think it works. It subverts the character of Miles Morales in a different way. You don't have people arguing about it because, hey, he's a sidekick. Miles is a sidekick. You don't have to compare the two because, hey, they're both working together. I'm definitely excited for the PS4 game that's about to come out. The PS5 game, to be specific. Let's just call them PlayStation games. I'm not gonna make it word. But I thought Across the Spider-Verse was fine. There's too much to like to really hate it, to be fair. But I do have my problems. I might make a review of it soon, but that's a video for another day. But my point is, I made Red Dragonfly with that very, very specific concept of Peter Parker being Miles' stepdad. And I think that's a thing that can work. It's something that doesn't really get brought up that much in certain Spider-Man circles because for some reason people would rather have Peter be a cuck where Mary Jane would rather have 2 kids with some nigga named Paul for some reason. Guys, this is a no-brainer here. It's not like Jeff is an important character anyway, and hey, dead parents, dead fathers in the superhero genre is a dime a dozen. So, basically, I might make a fanfic of that. Who knows? But, you don't have to, I don't have to make it. I basically made it into a book, and it's not technically Miles, it's Wilbur Watts. It's a character of my own. But basically, yeah, man, I basically pulled an Invincible, and I'll happily admit that I took some few tidbits from Spider-Man and the Flash, and I made it into my own character. Because let's just be honest, nowadays everybody's taking everything from everything. You got the boys, you got Homelander, who's basically just Superman if he was a corporate product. You have Omni-Man, who's basically just Superman if he was a alien Darwinist who destroys planets and shit. Basically, if he was a Super Saiyan. So I basically just took Spider-Man and kind of subverted it in some ways. It's kind of the reason why I've been advertising it on this channel, because I really want this series to get traction, and I really want to get that. I really want to get this character popping because I love writing Red Dragonfly. I'm writing Red Dragonfly Strikes again right now, and yeah, man, it's just like, I had a great fun time writing this series. And, I just wanted to pitch this idea because, of Miles being the stepson to Peter Parker. Because low-key, that is the only way people will that's the only way people will kind of accept Miles. It's the only way I would accept Miles in some ways. Because it's just like, Miles can't work as a character on his own. He needs a mentor figure. And Peter is barely in any stories nowadays. And the Peter we got in the movies, the Spider-Verse movies, he's a complete fucking joke. He took his baby, spoilers, but who gives a shit? He took his baby to a fucking meeting where they're basically trying to get Miles to basically let his dimension die. And, it's just, there's a lot of, like, him and Jessica Drew were the worst fucking parents in that movie. Like, it's bad enough that you're pregnant fighting crime, like a villain isn't going to pull Jill Tuck from Saw 4 and push you lightly, just push you lightly on the ground and just, boom, fucking miscarriage. Or, Peter, you have a wife. You're married to Mary Jane, dude. Just leave the baby at home. You're breaking bad news to Miles and you're bringing a fucking child? Like, what the fuck? It's so stupid. But back to my main point. I think this is an idea that is untapped potential. It is very much untapped potential. Sure, you'll have to kill Jeff, but who gives a fuck about Jeff, dude? Like, I don't want to hear anybody in the comments say that Jeff is an important character. He isn't. I mean, yeah, this creates so many ideas. You can have Peter beef with Aaron, the Prowler. I mean, they're already on bad terms, but he could see him as a father figure. The Prowler could see Peter as a father figure that Miles doesn't really deserve. He already had that jealous mentality back when the Ultimate Comics were a thing. He already wanted to use Miles to his own benefit. And I think there's so much storytelling potential that could be made there. And I'm just surprised that nobody, not even fanfics for that matter, they really tried to. I tried to search it up. I tried to search up Peter Parker's stepdad, Miles Morales, and aside from a few archive of our own fanfics, there's really nothing there, But luckily, Red Dragonflies kind of acts as a substitute to that very concept. Rather, if you fuck with that or not, that's your own thing. But hey, yeah, man, that's just really all I had to say. Like, Miles Morales is really just like, he's a character that can't work on his own, man. He needs Peter Parker, and people are used to Peter Parker. Peter Parker is the main guy who carried this franchise for 60 years. You can't just throw the OG away for a character that people are very divisive on. And I say this as a person who likes Miles Morales and Peter Parker equally. So it's just a no-brainer to just combine these two characters together in a sensible way, in fact. I think, Peter Parker is perfect stepdad material. And I think Miles, I think it's a good, there's so much storytelling there, man. I don't understand why people just don't tap into it. I don't want to hear nobody in the comments say that killing Jeff was a mistake. He died in the PS4 games. I mean, come on. And it's not like Peter is ever going to get with Mary Jane anyway, so whatever. So, if you want to read Red Dragonfly, links in the description. Yeah, that's really all I have to say. Subscribe to the channel. There's a lot of people who are unsubscribed don't subscribe to the channel, so make sure to subscribe to the channel. I'll probably come up with a review sometime later, if I get up to it. And as always, take care of yourselves and each other.
Make sure to check out the ongoing series Red Dragonfly. It's available to read on Wattpad and it was one of my favorite stories to write. Read them all. Link will be in the description.